heartache that brought me here. It's all been made clear. There's nothing left to hide. Guarded from the tempest, safe here in our fortress. With you I will reside. Mountains hide my hindsight, and all I see is you.
Someday I'll get the hang of timing down. But you know what? Let's not be too hasty. Just take it as it comes. Why not do the Hobbit thing?
Yes.
Yeah. Good morning, everybody. Good morning to Sharing with Shannon. Rolling Stone. Been a while. I see you in there. Body Illusion. Good morning. And of course, good morning to everybody on the village.
Yes. Let's see. I'm trying to get it pulled up here. I think I've got the village pulled up. We've got Body Illusion over at the village. Moni69. Hello. So yeah. Well, did you have a good night last night? Did you have a good New Year's Eve?
Actually, I did. I went to sleep early. I'm not into watching the ball drop. How about you? Did you watch the little silly thing go down? Oh.
Yes. So last night was the first New Year's Michael and I had been together in 5 years because he had been on the road. So I got a surprise date, and then we watched the ball drop, which was not as cool as I remember it when I was a kid. But apparently they took out all the porta potties, and so everybody in Times Square, like, there was nowhere for them to go to the bathroom. So I'm like, why would you do that? There were kids and everything down there. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, because that's just a choice you could overrule. I mean, it doesn't get messy when you don't do that.
Right. And
why
would you?
No.
I got a new ring light for Christmas. So I'm trying to get figured out where everything is supposed to be, and Edgar, of course, is running around, knocked over my coffee. doing good. So
I'm spending way too much time. I set up a green screen. I had it set up yesterday, and I got it working pretty damn good. But 5 minutes before the show started, I had a good little background. But it occurred to me, you could see, like, every now and again you can see like you could tell a video line right going through it, kind of not it wasn't super distracting, but it's like
Yeah,
I'm gonna take it easy on my
right.
brain and take the thing down. But but that was a big thing. I wanted to play with it, and yeah, I got it working better than a clunky. You turn on a regular virtual background, blocks out like half of your face, look like the Elephant Man. Um, I got to look at better than that. But yes,
Right.
answer your question, Sharon. Yes, um, I'm not sick. I'm I'm at the stage where my body's beaten the virus, but now I still have tons of stuff in my lungs. I did a really good job of coughing it out, but yeah, every now and again I'll still get a little bit. I think a little bit too is just typical um what do you winter time, you wake up,
My
your head's a
worst.
little stuffy. I mean, yeah, it's nowhere near being sick or anything. It's just uh just normal
Right.
garbage. Um, yes. Well,
Well,
it's funny. Oh, go ahead.
that's no fun either. I was gonna say that's just no
Mhm.
fun to be sick like that either. I'm trying to get
Yeah.
your trying to get this. Ah, go ahead.
Oh, and I said this a little bit on, I don't know, one of the shows I was on last night. That I was going, I was gone through some of my earlier emails, going back years,
Mhm.
and I found an email from uh, generally a nice guy. He was one of my heroes in the
Uh-huh.
'80s growing up. Not Neil Peart. I mean, Neil Peart was one of my heroes, and I do have an email from Neil Peart as well, where he no, he didn't. He replied. Neil Peart used to do that. It got out, and then he had to quit because, dude, you rock, dude. You're like a god. Can you smile upon me and bless me? And he just doesn't have time for
Oh,
that. So yeah, and another guy, the lead singer of the band Triumph, Rick Emmett. He's also
uh-huh.
Canadian, go figure, but super nice guy. And I forgot you know decades ago emailed him, and he replied back thanking me and talking about what I had asked him about. It was
Hmm.
mainly the recording industry and things like that. But so that got me thinking, and I tracked him down, and of all things, he had just written a book, and in it, I wish I could pull it up. In it, he is talking about how um, that he found that we all wear masks, and that you have to wear masks to be on stage. And I thought, wow, that's interesting, and how you have to delay short-term gratification for long-term goals, and that's the meaning of discipline. It's like, holy crap, he's saying that too. And
Right.
he went on to talk about how if you want to achieve your goals, you need to start journaling. And he said that's the difference, that you'll have everybody dreams, but that the people who journal, for whatever reason, that they appear to be the ones who carry through. And he was talking about the importance of journaling. It's like, wow, I would have never have guessed.
Yeah.
But it was also a good lesson. Not all not all your heroes, and I'm not saying this about Neil Peart by any stretch. Neil Peart, he's definitely finished a
Right.
really nice guy. Um, but not all your heroes will let you down. Just
Yeah.
uh yeah, that was one of the things that kind of reinforced, that kinda stuck out to me through that, because I was thinking about Rick is
Right.
still a super nice guy. He was teaching,
Yeah.
he was with Triumph forever. Um, Amazing voice, amazing. I mean, he's good. He was operatic with how high he could get. Um, he was mainly a singer, and he played guitar. He really, pretty good technical guitar player. But yeah, after that, he started doing solo tours where he's just playing in small bars, just him and his guitar. And he would just go around. And after that, then he started teaching at a small community college up in Canada. And it's like, Wow, that's kind of cool. I mean, it would have been kind of neat to have
Oh,
uh, Rick Emmett as, but yeah, he taught all
as your
kinds of things,
teacher.
and yeah, and he's generally interested in people. He generally cares about people. He's interested in people's stories and things like that. And I thought, "Ah, that is so nice," because oftentimes we're faced with the alternative where things aren't always what they seem. I can't get any more. I can't get into any more than that.
It's
But trust me, there's a lot of things going on where things are not what they seem. But this too, we will weather this storm. Um, there's always things going
yes.
on. So just know that yeah, we
Well,
can get through this.
and I
Oh,
love that, he was talking about journaling and how important that is, because
mm,
it really is. The reason I think is because you're manifesting it, you're putting it out there, you're thinking about it.
yeah,
When you, it's not just like a passing thing. When you take time to sit down and be grateful and mindful, grateful of what you have, mindful of what you say to yourself, about other people, you're putting all of that out there. And then when you journal on that, your goals and things like that, um, you're putting that energy out there. And then, God, the universe, however that looks for you, is like, okay, they're ready for
mm,
this. And
yeah,
start giving you opportunities to do that. And I think that's a beautiful thing to discuss headed into um, the new year, into 2025.
mm,
Make your dreams come true. I love it.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, and he basically repeated just basically what you said, that you're telling your brain, it's something about writing it down that
Yeah,
tells your brain, this is important to Ben or to Rick or to yourself, that it
right.
says that this is important and we're going to start queuing in for this. And of course, Chase Hughes talks about it as
Yeah,
well. And when you're talking about goal setting with Chase, he talks about the importance of doing that, visualizing, and then sitting down and actually writing down, not I am going to, I'm going to, I don't know, pick something. I'm going to run a marathon. No, not that. But Chase advises you to write down what it will feel like running with the wind in your hair, hearing
yeah,
only the sound of your feet hitting, the sound of your breathing, the euphoria you get, writing down in as
yes,
vivid detail as possible what that looks like. Um, and then that will help also cue in that lower part of that lizard brain that we talk about. Oh, hold on real quick here. And by all means, try to get your friends on board saying this is my goal, because then you're trying to use, because that's trying to use emotion. Why not try to get tribe involved?
mhm,
Get them, get your tribe to help push
yeah,
for you as well. So yeah, try to use a couple things from
right.
the fate
And
model. Yeah.
that's
Okay,
exactly
there we
what
go.
manifesting is. How does it feel
Yeah.
like? How does it feel
Mhm.
like when this thing happens? How does it feel to drive your new car? And you guys, you don't have to
Yeah.
manifest like $1 million home. You can manifest
Yeah.
a new to you car, or,
Yeah.
an opportunity, if you work in corporate America or whatever, to advance.
Hmm.
It can be, um, I always encourage everybody when they're starting to manifest something small, so that you
Hmm.
can see that it works and how it works, and then builds, I mean, by all means, please go for your dreams, but start
Mm.
small, and maybe it's like, oh, I would really like to, get some flowers today. And maybe it's the middle of winter and everywhere you
Yeah.
go there's no flowers, and then all of a sudden maybe somebody brings you flowers, or you're at a place where you can buy your favorite flowers.
Mhm.
um, and I think it's important to set that intention, throughout your year, because the other thing it does is it causes you to make uh, choices and decisions based on what you want. So if you want to be a better person, what does that look like for you? And then when you, like you said, bring your friends and your tribe in, um, then where are the opportunities you can do that? You'll start
Mm-hmm.
seeing those, open up a little bit more, or, I know a lot of us on here have YouTube channels. I want to grow my YouTube channel. Okay, well, what does that look like? Do you need to get on a different platform? Do you need to do these things? And you know, again, getting everybody on board. Guys, I'm so sorry. I'm trying to figure out like where to put my camera. This is bugging me that you can see that.
That is a
You
nice
can
view
see
out there. Love the color difference. Yeah, that looks definitely very winterish out
yeah,
your
yeah.
window. But yeah, and that was one of the things
Well,
that kind of,
we are.
oops, sorry, that kind of that always kind of scared me about the word manifesting because I'm too used to the crappy. I'll just say it. TV evangelists. There's one of them that always looks like he's smelling somebody's fart. He does that number, but and that that's something I had to get over was that term manifesting. But it's really you can use any term you want. Necessarily, if that term has a lot of baggage for you from cheesy, sleazy TV evangelists, then fine, then give it another term. But yeah, no, I was amazed at
Right,
your
right.
the one guy you follow who I said I sent you a video of too. Whatever his name was, Baldwin, I think. I don't think he's a Baldwin brother, but the guy who was talking about how you tap
Oh,
your
Jake Ducey?
forehead. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
Ducey,
yeah, Jake
Ducey, yeah,
Ducey.
yeah, yeah. I don't know how I got him confused with
Yeah,
a
yeah.
Baldwin, but now I think he's a Ducey. Um, no, Busey is who I was thinking of. Okay, but it's Ducey. Um,
Oh, Gary
but
Busey. Right.
yeah, but and then he was doing the same thing, and when I watched the video where he's talking about you just tap right here lightly, and you think about until you see color, and then you think about the goal you want to hit, and all you do is once you see it, you just say yes. And what that is doing is also that is telling your body that yes, this is a good thing. This isn't one of these things where because we'll tend to submarine ourselves. We won't get the amygdala or the lower
Right.
part of our brain on board, and it has a lot of self-limiting talk built in. Where, oh yeah, I want to become
Mhm.
this, and with that, all you're doing is you're visualizing that goal, and you're just simply saying, "Yes, I want this. Yes, this is what I'm going to achieve." And you're getting that lower you're using emotion to get that lower part of the brain engaged and saying, "Yes, this is obtainable. This is what I'm going for." Um, so I thought that was kind of
Right,
interesting.
right. Well, and it's kind of it's even like praying, it's like I'm ready for this. I'm ready, for because I know there's a lot of people on here who pray. So it's even just like praying and just trusting that it's gonna show up for you. And
Yeah,
sometimes we get in our own way a lot because of, like you said, limiting beliefs or things that have happened over the years where, and I think a lot of it comes from childhood. I mean, maybe you prayed for a situation to stop or not happen, or, maybe you were in grief and you were bargaining and it just, it wasn't going to work out that way. Like there was just
yeah,
no way that it was going to work out that way. Um, and so then we internalize that when that's not really how to go about it. Like I remember bargaining when my dad died. It's like, please don't let my dad die. Well, there's and I didn't have enough power. Like there was just not enough power to have that happen. And
yeah,
so if you have a difficult time with manifesting, praying, however you look at it, revisit.
mm,
I want to encourage you to revisit that for yourself this year, and really look at like what happened? Why, were you little and you were praying that someone didn't die, or that bad situation would stop, and it wasn't there for you to do. So I want to encourage you to spiritual journal on that. That's what I call it. Journal on this and get back to that relationship where, maybe if you start working on it now, then by June, you'd be like, okay, I'm ready to, I don't know, have that southern front porch in my dreams. We don't have to take it down a heavy road. But, as you go into this new year, I think a big part of working on ourselves is our limiting beliefs. And, like you said, even you just having a problem with the word manifestation, because it's that you see on TV. I mean, those are real, and people have that. And so, how can you expand your mind this year? This is going to be a huge year of change, and instead of going like this, we're going to go like this, and then so it's not going to be so up and down. So it's going to be an opportunity for you to change a lot of things. There's going to be a lot of opportunity for that this year. So it's a good year to set those good intentions for yourself.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and that's important too. I mean, just setting up mentally, not necessarily. I mean, that's good in the short term goals. Today I'm going to do this. Okay, fine. Don't want to journal that. Fine, by all means. But the thing is that when you're talking long term, it, like you were saying, it things don't always increase at a steady curve or a bell curve or anything like that. There's ups and downs along the way, and to keep yourself, as when you're on one of the downward spikes, what typically happens if it's only mental, we'll just continue that trajectory back down to where we were, and that's the difference. Is that using these practices is that a lot of times we'll have a downward spike, but then we'll turn around and no, this is what we're doing. We're not doing this number. We're going to do this number. And yeah, it helps give you the stick-to-itiveness, I suppose, would be a term. I invited Victor on. I guess he's still waking. He's still waking up, I suppose. Let's see here. Okay. Teresa, I also sent you a link. Let's so here we go. Share. Yeah, I found this
Body
video,
illusion, no
and
worries.
we found this video. Yeah, this is interesting because this has been coming up with aliens and stuff like that. This was done at the UT Dallas, and what they did was they used transparent nanotubes. And this is underwater because it's the only way. I mean, this is an early experiment, of course. This is underwater because all they're doing is they're pumping in a high amount of voltage into these, and it generates an incredible amount of heat very quickly because they're very thin. But here you can see what happens when they activate it.
Wow.
And that was I just found that to be interesting because that had come up in a prior conversation. They're working on a lot of interesting things. Another, let's see here. Share.
Vehicles that reduces their thermal signature and makes them imperceptible to infrared night vision devices. Footage of the system at work shows a thermal camera closely following an armored vehicle across a forest landscape. The CV-90 light tank then shows different letters on its side, but when it finally stops, its thermal signature suddenly disappears, blending entirely with the environment. Adaptive is...
I'm done spending an obscene amount of money on
Lovely.
I'm getting back on track with
know,
Factor.
Fresh, never frozen meals.
Okay,
from
heck
local
with it.
chefs. This saves us.
I don't feel like
Hey,
sitting through a
look, you're
commercial.
promoting Factor.
Factor, yeah, why not? Hey, Factor, you could. That must be guacamole, I imagine. Tomato,
Yeah,
chicken,
yeah,
rice. Hey, that doesn't look bad, actually.
mozzarella.
So much time. When we're
That's
No,
not giving me
no,
a.
it looks
I can
actually
get all the
pretty.
nutrition I need without having
Let me
to
refresh the
obsess over
video.
it.
I know there.
BAE System has recently
let's
to
go back.
infrared night vision devices. Footage of the system at
Okay,
closely followed,
yeah, we
but when
already
it
hit
finally
that.
stopped, hexagonal metallic panels that are individually heated or cooled instantly, allowing the operators to completely blend with the environment and mimic natural objects or other vehicles, such as harmless cars. The company said that it is planning to use Adaptive for air vehicles and maritime vessels. If successful, this camouflage technology will revolutionize the art of war with new infiltration tactics and operations behind enemy lines.
Yeah, so that's basically it. But yeah, I just interesting technology coming along. It's both yeah, interesting and kind of scary, but um more cloaking. That's dealing mainly with night vision, but it also works during the daytime because what those little panels are able to do is they're able the computer inside the tank looks on each one has a tiny little camera in it, and what it does is it ties to the one on the other side that looks at the temperature and the lighting on this side, and it changes the color of those to match the color on the other side as well as the lighting. And it's the kind of thing where from a distance it can make itself invisible from a distance, and it's not like super duper, like predator type stuff, but when you're up on it you can still notice it. But yeah, I just find that to be
Right.
interesting, um, about where they're going with some of this stuff. Um, I don't know why I brought that up. It's just popped in my head. But
No, no, it is really interesting, especially with everything that's going on right now. All of the, isn't it interesting that after like Roswell, so much of our stuff like it jumped and then it
mm,
kind of stagnated and now we're starting to see these jumps again. So what's interesting to me is if it's all um like hecklefish size, obviously aliens, are we going to see another jump, right? Because we've
mm,
seen a huge jump in the 40s and the 50s. We've
mm,
seen it just off the charts. So now all of these things are starting to show up. Are we going to see more? And what's that going to look like? Because that technology back then was just, unbelievable. So
mm,
now with all the advancements we have, what are they going to do? So it doesn't surprise
mm.
me that they're kind of like with this cloaking stuff. That doesn't surprise me that that's kind of what's showing up.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
where do
uh,
we go? You know,
yeah, yeah. And that the the leaps they're making are just things that, well, doggone, I don't have it. There was a concert of some sort inside of a dome. I don't know where. I don't know which dome it was, but they were using lasers and high definition cameras, all this other stuff to project on the dome the starry field. But then you could see it. It would make like a vision of somebody trying to break through it, like it was a fabric, and would they're playing music, and it was part of the show, but still,
right?
you see things like that of them generating a, I don't know, a
Hmm.
80-foot tall guy trying to break through the side of the dome that you're in. They project that on it. How do you turn around and explain that to somebody in the 1800s, or something like that? What
Yeah,
would they think? So yeah, the
right,
more I see a lot of this
right,
stuff,
right.
though, the more I realize it's like, what would my ancestors of the 1700s the more you get all this technology and stuff,
Yeah.
what would relate to them? And it's like, you know what? Yeah, they'd like to meet out by a tree. They would like to meet out by a fire. So a lot of this stuff, as there's this push towards more and more technology everywhere, the more I can see that there's an importance to. I mean, yeah, it's neat and all that, but the more I can see that there's actually a need for us primally to get away and have moments where we
Yeah.
aren't surrounded by glittering lights and all this stuff, dazzling and whatnot.
You know,
But
when I lived in so for those of you who don't know, my husband's job takes us all over everywhere. So I've lived a lot of places in a lot of states. And we were living in California. I lived in California a couple different times, but this particular time we were living in rural California, which is very different than what I grew up as rural. So we were actually in Northern California, we were in Rio Vista. And they were working on a drawbridge and they hit a power like a power breaker like all the power in the town went out, and I was so sad. Before this happened, I told Mindy, I said, I have not seen stars since I've been
mm,
here. Like it's never quiet. I couldn't see the stars. I mean, you knew it was dark outside, but couldn't see the stars, couldn't see anything. So it was so great. Her dad recorded like crickets and lightning bugs, and Mindy did too.
yeah,
To send to me, so that I could just kind of be reminded of Kansas and back home. But when they hit this power, um, like this main power breaker, whatever it was, the whole town went dark. And for the first time in like 6 months, I could see the stars. And so, it's even that, like on a basic level,
mm,
even just getting out of the cities, like we have to connect to nature because there's
yeah,
a part of us that's how our bodies are designed. Like and
yeah,
there's a lot of things around like shoes. Like, when people were wearing moccasins and things like that, we were more connected to the earth. But as we got pavement and like plastic bottoms on shoes, I mean, yeah, of course, it made it
mm,
easier to navigate rocks and stuff like that. But we're really
yeah,
disconnected from nature. And I think a
yeah,
big part of, the stress in life is being disconnected from that. And I always
yeah,
encourage everybody, like, now, obviously not in the wintertime, but when it's spring, summer, fall, go outside. Everybody gets a break from work. You get a lunch break,
yeah,
you get 15-minute breaks. When I was in corporate America, I would take non-smoking breaks because I didn't smoke. But go outside and just breathe. Just
mm,
stand in the grass, just look around, put some earbuds in that's not playing any music, like noise canceling and stuff, and just look around, because
yeah,
we do get lost in technology and we forget that there are people, and we see it all the time. I see it in restaurants. Elderly people out with younger people. The younger people are on their phones scrolling down. Elderly people are just looking at them, and you're gonna miss that. You're gonna miss that connection. You're gonna miss those stories as
yeah.
time goes on.
And yeah, that again, another show that we're talking about neuroplasticity, and that is one of the things that's important to a neuroplasticity is, and it doesn't cost you anything. Time in nature. It's something in which we're starting to really
Right,
starve
right,
ourselves. Even, I mean, I don't live in downtown wherever Phoenix or whatever. I live pretty rural, and it's
right.
pretty easy, even where I'm at, to spend all day, surrounded by screens. Um, it has become more important to, yeah, do what you were talking about. Just simply, and this is one of the things that came up with I still hate using the term empathy, empathic ability, whatever term you want to use for it. Dare I say, Empath. um, but that was one of the things that came up for me was having the needing to. I call it ground. You call it earthing. We'll call it earth ground, like in electronics. The need to go out and to just dump all that, in electronics you have where you're maintaining all this power, it needs to go somewhere. So they use the term, you can have a chassis ground, means it's still contained within the chassis, or else you can have earth ground, which means it's going to the earth, which is where electricity wants to go. So yeah, in our daily lives, sometimes it's important to dump all that. You can do it through visualization if you
Yeah.
don't have access to ground, your actual ground. Um, a lot of visualization, or even just simply walk outside, take your shoes off, and just physically ground to earth. And yeah,
Right.
and it sounds woo woo. It sounds strange. Any other term you can think of, it sounds that way. But yeah, it does work, and you can almost feel. You tend to notice it more if you haven't done it in a while. That you can almost feel a lot of stuff just
Mhm.
go. It's just like wow, I'm just dumping, shedding all this garbage, and you, you just come away feeling a little more steady, I suppose, or I don't know. It does a world of
Yeah.
good though, and there's more and more research indicating this. The better, closer you can get to grass and trees. But even in the desert, you have to be careful, make sure you don't step on a scorpion or something. But um, I've noticed it even on some of the land around here that used to be tribal. Um, you can
Mhm.
just even on dirt. Now of course you have to dust your feet off before you put them back in your socks and stuff. But yeah, there is something about that. And you know what? If they say, "Oh, well, that's all woo woo, all the studies are wrong," fine, it's woo woo, makes you feel better. So you know,
Right.
we don't necessarily have to. Yes, I agree. Rolling Stone, Deanna Troy, admittedly the most annoying Star Trek character ever. Yeah, not quite as annoying as Star Wars Jar Jar Binks, but Jar Jar Binks is up there with Felddog, Corey Feldman. But yes,
Oh
uh,
God, the comeback kid. I like the comment that DJ Nicholas said. I kind of feel like I am flowing energies and flows of energy more than before. Um,
mm,
yeah, it's really. I think we have gotten so far away from nature that
yeah,
technology. I mean, look at where we're at. I've got like if I move, you can see my ring light. So we've got artificial light. It's surrounded. I've got
yeah,
two screens, an artificial light, every light in the RV on.
mm,
I think that there's a call. My dad, he always said it this way. He goes, you always go back to your raising, meaning you always kind of default to what you learned when you were a kid, right? Now, if we look at that on a primal level, on a soul level, because we all have souls, no matter how
yeah,
that looks like for us or what you believe they do or don't do or where they are or aren't is irrelevant. Our soul needs to connect to the earth because there's four
mm,
elements. We've got air,
mm,
fire, earth, and water. And when you take
mm,
out one of those, then it's missing. And in our
mm,
society, we've taken out more than one. When we spend all day in, we've taken out the air. When we, don't go outside and then, like you said, walk in the grass, take a walk through nature, we've taken out the earth element. You know, so
yeah,
what are we left with at that point if we've
mhm,
taken out earth and we don't get into nature anymore? One of my favorite things to do is put my feet in the water. I grew up in Colorado, and the water that flows would flow from ice packs, so it was never warm, it was always cold. But there's something about putting your feet in rushing water, or it doesn't matter if it's a man-made reservoir, like it's still water. And when
mm,
we deprive our bodies of that, we're really taking those very basic elements that we're all made up of. We all have to drink water. We all have to breathe air, you know, like dust or ashes, ashes, dust to dust. You know, we're all those things. And we're not living in a connected way.
Mm,
We're connected in one way through this, but we're not
mm,
connected in the way that, again, going to your ancestors, that our ancestors
yeah.
are and want us to be. And I think we need to always remain small. You know, it's kind of like that country song. I hope you still feel small when you stand beside the ocean. If you don't
Mm,
feel small in this world, and I don't mean small like beat up and insignificant and unheard, but I mean, if you have lost that awe of a
mm,
higher being, of God or Buddha, Jehovah, Allah, universe, whatever that looks like for you, if you've lost the awe of your higher power, get that
mm,
back. Make that a goal for this year. You know, even getting a litter box and putting dirt in it, like potting soil, not the kind that has like
mm,
Miracle-Gro in it. Putting your feet in that is still something, you know?
yeah.
Like it's so important, and I think we've just gotten so much away from it. And I really believe that that's where all of our problems stem from, is we're just
Yeah.
not, you know, we do meditations, grounding meditations are all about, like you said, dumping that energy back into the earth.
Oh, yeah.
So
And we can see that with when you start talking litter box with sand or something. I was thinking of you know
yeah.
the guys, the Japanese in Tokyo and sky rises and things like that. That they had to uh, that they sell the value in it, but that they're having to put sand in little things and with a little rake just to give them some kind of connection. And yeah, that's a pretty good warning, actually. I think probably I think we want to do this before we get to that stage of where we're having to play with a little fake sandbox. But yes, I like what DJ Nico writes. I always feel better when I'm living near water. I prefer be barefoot, especially in summer. I want to feel grounded. Um, Rolling Stone.
Yeah.
Come to believe what draws me back to Maine whenever I try is the need for rocks and springs and trees and pine hair. I can't seem to go too long without it.
Yeah.
Yes, energy is meant to
You know,
move.
that's it's what yes. That's what draws me back to Seattle and Alaska is the ocean, the mountains, the well, Washington State in general, the ocean, the mountains, the beauty. Um,
Mhm.
it the places are very beautiful when you get outside of the city, you know, as of the cities. Yeah.
Mm. I still find it that the more we find out about us, we think we're one way. That would finds out we're another. I'm thinking of fMRI scans on people who they were watching for parts of the brain that turn on and off. And for a long time, they thought, just be binary on, off. And now they're saying, no, that, of course, that doesn't work because you turn part of your brain off, that brain part starts to die. So the power just goes down a bit. That's all between like 46 to 52% as far as energy in the part of our brain. Um, that it actually just turns off, it starts to go a little dark, but just not getting as much energy like when you're sleeping or something. And they were talking how
Yeah.
energy flows through the brain. They're saying it's not just simple boom, 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 boom. That it's more when they look at it, it's more like watching a flock of birds. You see all these little parts light up, and then you see them all go over to the other side, and they kind of dance around, and then they go back to the other side. And they're saying it's actually quite beautiful to watch how the brain turns on and on. But yeah, that was going back to what Nico said about energy wants to move. Yes.
Yes. You know, and I think when we can understand that energy and that we are energy, and that, everything is not like linear. It's an ebb and a flow. If you look at nature, things ebb and flow. And why would we not be any different? Why would energy be different? Like, it's really there. Energy is there. Tesla worked with
Yeah.
it, right? Like,
Yeah.
you look at Nikola Tesla, he worked with energy.
Yeah.
So if you go back to some of the really great thinkers, a lot of them were actually very self-aware and conscious of the, I don't want to offend anybody, as a broader world, right? And the deeper world, more esoteric, spiritual, side of things. Um, so yeah,
Oh yeah, that
you got someone like Tesla who believes in energy, man, I'm following him.
well yeah, and I mean uh what we've all been fed platitudes to the opposite. I keep thinking of follow the science. Well, science isn't a person. Science is, although some people like to get up and say, "Oh, I'm the science. I represent the science." No, 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 you don't. Even Neil deGrasse Tyson wouldn't say that about himself. Um, but the science, the more they go in this, the more studies suggest that we need to do these things. And no matter how many people on the other side constantly say, "Oh, no, 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 you don't need this, you don't need that." More are seeing, like, you know what? There's a lot of benefit to, and besides that, okay, you know what? Fine. Even if it turns out you're all wrong. There's this study that conclusively proves this. So what? Okay, fine. Let's just say that exists. Um, okay, makes me feel better. Why not do it? Even if everything
Right.
else be damned for now. If it, try it and see what happens. See if you don't feel better doing it. See if you don't feel your heart rate just start to move down a little bit. That the blood pressure start to go down at least a little bit. Just try it and see. Because yeah, we're we're creatures that are. It's like our tribes. Um, tribes that we're meant to have are typically meant to be around 1 to 200 people. These things where we have tribes of
Mhm.
35,000 people on Facebook and things like that. We're not intended. We're not intended to have that big of a group. It's like we still need our circle of friends, and then our circle of acquaintances and circle of people we're concerned about and things like that. Yeah, you can't reach out to uh this huge humongous group of people. You can, but you that's not your natural state of your body. It won't. Something will happen. You won't be able to maintain it for very long. Let's
Well,
see here.
and
I'm
even, look at, oh no, go ahead.
Oh, I was just someone who loves to be in the forest near lakes and rivers. There's a calmness and a ferociousness at the same time. Smells and wind and air, grounding totally.
Well, and, to take it to a religious aspect, God, he doesn't speak to you in big cities, right? God doesn't come and talk to you in the big cities. It's Teresa, am I echoing?
No, that's
I
Teresa. I think she
you're
has her
I'm sorry.
video.
Yep. And I have let me just I've got two things going. So hold on. That's my fault. Okay, that should be gone now.
I I I think even, to talk to people out there who, really believe in God and things like that, he doesn't talk to us in the big cities. God speaks to us in the quiet of nature and the stillness of who we are. And when we look at Jesus, as a Lord and Savior, if that's how you see him, he had a very small group of people around him. He didn't have huge amounts of
Mm,
people, and he was still very connected. So I think we
mm,
need to be. I think the important thing is to be respectful of where everybody is, and I think we can apply this in a way that it doesn't matter if you are agnostic, atheist, religious, or spiritual. Like it God's intention when he started everything, it was the Garden of Eden. That's where it started. He didn't start, Adam and Eve, or however you see that story. Wasn't in a big city. So, I think we really need to, and this is one thing that really, um, I think we need to connect to each other, and I think we need to respect a lot of things about that. But I think we also need to understand that that's not how we were created. We are all created, and it doesn't matter who you believe created us, but we are all created, and we were all created at the core in nature and of nature and of energy and of love. And I think that that's people get wrapped around an axle that they shouldn't, you know.
mm.
And I almost want to jump onto something that both of you had said. So, first of all, good morning, all, and many blessings for a very happy and healthy new year. I know in certain parts of our country here, it didn't start out so well for all of those in New Orleans. So, I send them love and light. And if we have anybody that's there, God bless you all. I'm so sorry. But as we start to move through this time and space, oh, Victor, good morning. We start to move through this time in this space where we should not be neglecting our elders. And what I mean by that is our grandparents, if we have them. I don't really have too many of those people left in my life. I'm a little bit older, so they've passed, but there's that parental, those people that are in their 70s and 80s. What they bring to us is that lack of being on the computer all the time and the iPhone and those things. They do know what a Sunday dinner is. They do know what that community of sitting around a couch is and having coffee. And I think as this current generation coming up behind me and you guys, they don't have that same connection, and they don't have anyone to teach them to be in that connection, right? If we don't, it's not going to be up to us in some forum, whether it's here on the village, whether it's on our own channels, whether it's in our community centers or our dog parks. Somehow we have to, it's so funny right now. What's popping into my head, so forgive me, is the Coca-Cola commercial, about teaching the world to love. I'd like to teach the world to sing in
In
perfect
perfect harmony.
harmony.
Mm.
I'd like to buy the world a Coke. It's how do we bring each other back to that sense of, hey, let us go for a walk. I'm around some really beautiful places, and some of the kids don't know them, or they only know the alcoves to go and do their illicit activities. And look, at least they're in the woods. But it's how do we bring them? How do we as creators in this medium reach
Mm.
out to those people? And I don't know what the answer is. I know that I miss that elder connection, and there's a senior center not far. And one of my commitments to myself in 2025 is to go spend some time there. Just walk in. They love to visit with people. I have 2 little pups. They can come with me and validate their existence. And then we have to be able to recharge our bodies. Um, and I almost would not challenge you, Christy, but I think God is wherever you are. So if you're in a city, you're in a city. I think if you want to stand on a rooftop in Manhattan, you can, you're as close to God as we're going to be. I think that the beauty of being in the country and out in the woods is it is visceral. You can smell the water, you can smell the earth. And but community is where each of us lives. And I have been a very poor example in the past couple of years of someone who has sequestered herself. I've become introverted. I've become disconnected, partly out of fear. There's some scary peeps out there. And then there's also people that don't get me. And so I allowed that to almost punish me, right? And make me go sit in a corner. Baby went to a corner, but I self instructed that. Ben, you're nodding. Is that at me or is that at somebody on the chat?
Oh, I was talking about some meeting the coolest people at dog parks.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So, anyway, I think that each of us, we're in a unique position in this community of the village. I don't know how we harness that except by our individual activity. I mean, um, I think we each have something to bring. And Christy reminds us all the time to get out in nature. It's one of the things when I follow her. And if you haven't, you should pop on in the mornings. That's one of the blessings of her when I listen to her is she's like, get out and just smell, get out and just be. And Victor in his meditations, again, he's bringing us back in this. I'm moving. Sorry, I'm Italian. I'm talking with my hands. I'll sit on them. Um, he brings us into this ethereal place where you can almost smell the earth and the water and the air around you. And I think that's some of the things that even so, one of the things I haven't followed a lot of Ben, but he uses a lot of music. Music is harmony. Music, even if you're not keen on a specific type of music, music also brings that earth energy because if you ever go outside, there's music everywhere, whether it's in the trees, in the leaves, in the animals rustling through the leaves. The calling of animals. I'm in New England, I'm in Massachusetts, and I'm in this small little area. And we've invaded a lot of animals' territory. So we have a couple of bears that like to come through our neighborhood and they just flump along through the neighborhood looking through garbage and food. So that I think is really sad. But they bring a rhythm of nature to the forefront to remind us that there's not a lot of land. And so we need to respect that and we need to respect the people in it and we need to invite them to be with us. So just wanted to chime in. Long-winded, sorry.
Victor, what say you? We were just talking.
Well, and Teresa
Christy.
too.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, Teresa, to your point, I understand that not everybody can get out into nature. And I do believe that God is everywhere that we are. And going to your comment about elders, sometimes choices are made for us that we don't get the opportunity to teach the younger generation. So if you're in a position where you're disconnected from somebody, I just want to send you love right now because you might not get to be that elder.
Oh, and let me just piggyback. I meant elders in all of our communities, not just in our family. I totally get that. So I was really thinking more about my senior communities because I don't have those elders. I don't have the connection with certain people anymore. I'm sort of an oddball out. So that's absolutely true. I mean, I know, Christy a little bit, and I don't think I was saying specifically in your family. It's the elders that are around us in our communities. So our senior centers and even our town communities, they're all filled with elders because they've been around and they know stuff. And those are the people that I just wanted to tap into. Sorry. So go ahead, Victor.
That, yeah,
Happy sunrise. The
because we were just talking about. Oh gosh, we could talk about anything you want, but we were specifically on the topic of how to the needing to earth ground, return to nature as we get more and more technologically advanced, the needing to return to basics things, the things of which our ancestors would understand. How would we relate to our ancestors of the 1700s? You can't use this stuff necessarily. What say you?
well, I have some thoughts on the matter. Really haven't thought about relating. I haven't really thought about this before. I did pick up a piece of it. I think some of the reason that we feel so hermit-like nowadays. I saw you had shaking your head when Teresa was talking about that. And happy sunrise, Teresa. I think some of that is especially people like us that are on some sort of path. Okay, I think that the thing that's important to notice is I think we've been kind of isolated so we can get to where we are now, meaning we needed to be insular against a lot of things. All right. So inadvertently, things that were planned for us and pushed us into our homes and away from others, I think in some ways it failed completely, because what that did is that gave all of us an opportunity to be introspective, to spend time with self, to spend time with alone, developing a skill. How many people, when we were all isolated, ended up learning Spanish or learning how to do some new art? All right, because art always adds to the planet, as far as I'm concerned, in whatever medium it arrives. And so I didn't hear the complete conversation. However, wow. Oh, concerning our elders, I'll tell you what. I think you have some really valid points, and I think it is good. However, I just spent the last year in and out of a nursing home with my mother, and my mother passed on Thanksgiving. And the thing is that I get that, and I spend some time with the elders at my tribe as well, because we honor our elders at the tribe every day by making them breakfast. And it's not I say we as a tribe, we do. Okay, so we feed the elders. That's the main priority at the tribe, is to feed the elders. And then we even go the tribe. I say we when the tribe does it. It's not like I'm doing it. So, but they'll even go pick them up and bring them over to the headquarters and into the calf and roll them in and feed them and encourage people to come and learn from them. So, and interact with them. Yeah.
Interesting. So when you say tribe, you mean literal. You're part of a Native American.
I'm actually part of two.
Oh, interesting.
I even live in a nation. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Boy,
And
I'd
actually,
love to hear more about that someday.
well, I can tell you right now, most of Oklahoma is divided up into Indian nations. So they're nations within a nation, nations within a state within a nation. So then I have a third one that I live 7 miles from, because they're all border, and it's not like you have to go through border checkpoints or anything like that. But yeah, it's pretty neat. But that's the way I grew up, though. I'm used to it. It's our culture, our version of that culture, because it's pretty. Some of the tribes are very watered down, and some of them aren't. And watered down meaning, the blood quantums are low, but that doesn't invalidate my desire to go and look at it. It's still, even if it's just an arm of mine, that arm still wants to know that heritage. You still have that information. And I even went specifically kind of doing a study on pre-Christian practices within one of my tribes. And it's very interesting because I found the data. I just have to go and extract it. So, yeah.
It was. Go ahead.
Everyone stay up late and booze it up all night. And you guys look like you boozed it up all night. Only person I know on this panel right now that blew anyone off last night. I don't know. I don't know if she boozed it up or not. But luckily, this guy came into my stream last night. No.
Somebody was busy on their world tour, starting with Knob Noster. It's just the way they are.
I saw your note last night, Christine. I thought, well, that is awesome. Awesome husband. And don't tell everybody what he did, because then
Uh-oh.
that's like the level of expectation's gonna go. What? But I think it's beautiful. I think it's beautiful. But luckily,
Raise the
this guy
bar.
named Ben Bath and Beyond. Ben Bath and Beyond on my channel is his name now. So yeah,
It's funny. Earlier, I saw in the comments they're talking about the need for tactile books, and there have been studies that indicate. No, I'm not against PDFs. I mean, they all have their place. Sometimes we
sure.
need to be PDFs because we can't. The thing that's nice about PDFs and digital books is instant. Like boom, you want to read the
Yeah.
works of Plato. You can find it in quite a few places, but you can get it instantly. But yeah, sometimes there's been studies that indicate that a lot of people, they tend to learn better. Not say you can't learn, but some of us, I know I'm one. I wish I wasn't, because I would much rather have a form of digital books because these take up space. But
Yeah.
the thing that's interesting is that if you're reading a tactile book, we know that you tend to remember versus a PDF, that you tend to know. You'll have some sort of recall of where about. You may not have the exact page, but you read a book, you can generally remember. Oh yeah, I remember. Uh, that was on. Okay, here it is, right here. Just flipping through it. I've
Yeah.
referenced this one a lot, where it's talking about the lower eyelid factor of. That's basically the wrinkle underneath your eye, and how it's an indicator of how open to how susceptible you are to influence. People without one tend to be a little more, and it makes sense. Just to go over it again, the teaching is, well, if you're somebody who's skeptical, you tend to go, I don't know about that. When you do that, you wrinkle that part of your eye, versus, and that's the reason why young people tend to be a little more, there's good and bad. I mean, tend to be a little more open to cults and things like that because we're inexperienced. We don't know that things are nefarious and people have ill intentions, things like that. But yeah, I was able to find that just by leafing through it because my body remembered. Well, it's about here in the book. I remember it being on this page, and there's something that about the tactile feel for some of us that will make whatever we read sticking a little more if it's in the form of a book. So that I don't know why I went off on that tangent.
Well, that's okay. I mean, I think even on some of the books that I have, and I wish I had one in front of me, but I was trying to clean up. I have yellow stickies in all sorts of different chapters that resonate with me. So, yes, a book, not that you can't do that digitally. So, all of you technically savvy people, I am not one. I know you can mark them. But for me, it is that actual, first of all, I love the smell of books. I love the smell of paper, and I love the act of turning that page. But I can highlight and stick things on it, and it reminds me to go back to it. Look at Ben. So, yep, he's flipping through.
They use good paper and good smelling ink. That's important in a book.
I found a book inside of a house. I was looking at a house back in my property management days, and I was looking at a house, and I came across a book. I was with a potential buyer or something. I wasn't doing real estate. It was regardless of my situation there. I found this really cool book, like a little pocket book, and I'm a big Sherlock Holmes fan. And I opened it up, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" It was like an original print of a story. But it said on the inside cover, taken from a prisoner aboard a World War I German submarine.
Wow.
And it was
Wow.
dated, I think 1915, but it was some American sailor had found that book, or a British sailor. I didn't get the details. I really tried to get the book from them, and they were like, no, no. but that it was so amazing because it was like a little excerpt and taken from a prisoner, a German sailor, blah blah blah, and it had the submarine's name, and I can't remember. I should have taken a photo of it, but and I thought, wow, what are the odds of me to finding something, a Sherlock Holmes book, and then it having this other history tied to it. I love books like that. I love other kind of books too, but as long as they're knowledgeable.
I think
The book is
what?
Go ahead.
I think the coolest book story I have is when we were in Baltimore. There is I always forget the name of it. There's a library there. It's associated with Johns Hopkins. It's a museum, and inside of it is a personal library. And you can make an appointment to go look at these books because it was like this huge, large personal library. So Michael took off work one day and made an appointment to take me there. It was like we got a private tour and we got private time with us. And I got to hold in my hands the first edition of Walt Whitman's Leaves of Grass. Like I got to touch it. And there were there were like works by Thoreau and everything else. And then there were these huge Audubon books that were like 3 feet tall and the pages unfolded. And so I got to look at those. I got to touch like a 6th edition William Shakespeare book, which is apparently complete works of Shakespeare, which is apparently like really cool because a lot of those got destroyed. So there's only a few left. So these really rare books I got to hold and touch. So I know what you mean when you're like, you see this thing and you're like, oh my God. When I was holding that book, I was like looking at the door. I'm like, can I run fast enough in these high heels to like take this book and run out the door? Which I could not have and I wouldn't have done. But books are amazing, especially something like that when you get to touch it and you get a connection like that. It's very cool. Indeed.
Nice. That is nice. It's amazing sometimes the journey the book itself the physical book has gone through, all the people's lives it has touched and things like that. And I don't know if there's power. I mean, I like to think that there's energy in the amount of lives that this thing has passed through. And, that may make me weird, but I've been called worse.
I think you said the magic word right there is energy. Got to get me started on energy already. Because think about how many times you've brushed your teeth in your entire life. And think about all the energy that's tied up in that. Just kind of take it. You've done it tens of thousands of times. If you close to my age, you've done it a lot of times. Excuse me. So I did an exercise with a person literally yesterday and talked to them and was telling about this. And I said, and just pull that energy back. Pull that energy back from that experience. That's like a no-brainer experience, brushing your teeth. Now think about even traumatic incidences. Pull that energy back from it. The memory's still the same, or even a good memory of something, maybe graduating from high school. That's a great memory. You can pull the energy back. You can go through and do an inventory and pull the energy back from so many things it doesn't change the energy, doesn't change how you feel about it. Because that's how you feel about it is another animal altogether, whether it's positive or negative. So I said, just pull the energy back. And this is like new. It's not like I was advising her to do this because she didn't feel well. I was just speculating on it, that we have energy. Think about how many times you've had some harrowing drive that you disliked on your way to work or the way back from work, or you spent 2 hours a day both ways, something like that, some kind of nonsense like that. Think about that and think about all the energy that we still expended energy. We're expending energy right now communicating. All right. I don't particularly want to pull my energy back from this because I'm really enjoying it. So, but that's an example. Are we that energetic? Are we that do we expend that much energy over time on things that are mundane? Yeah.
That's very true. I guess, that's interesting. Never even gave that any thought.
Well,
Yeah.
no, because they keep us so busy to
Yeah.
where'd he go? To DJ's point, he was saying, we're that quick fix society. Part of that is
Yeah.
pushed on us by the big plan. Because look, Big Pharma has us going, oh my gosh, Ben, you're suffering from dry mouth. Well, it's because no, it's not because of that. But here, let me sell you this. And then you start taking that for dry mouth and you may experience some kind of gut leakage. Okay, well, Christy's got something for gut leakage right there. And that only side effect causes your feet to swell. And then, but wait a second, Teresa's going to sell you this other. You see, so part of that quick fix society is exactly the way they're programming us.
I love the example or the illustration.
Yeah, well, books used to be the great propaganda tools, and now that
Yeah.
television
That's true.
that came out.
Yeah.
Also, I do ask you, since we're talking about seniors, notice how people in a certain generation absolutely worship the TV, and it's not. It's older than mine. Like my mother, my late mother, had the TV on when she was awake. The TV was on. It was just like
Yeah.
that. It was always her companion. And I noticed my father was that way as well. It's that generation. They were the TV. They were the kids that
Yep.
transitioned, I believe, from radio to TV.
You're
So
right.
they got the full brunt of the programming. And what we
Yep.
got was the more refined programming, the
100%.
more dialed in.
Yep.
So help us
Oh,
come out.
each generation has something, right, Victor? We all have something. So, and I just want to say, I didn't know about your mom, so I'm really sorry.
Oh, thank you.
Much love. But yes, each generation, my mom was similar. I'm similar. I don't know if it's because I'm more introverted, but 9 times out of 10, you're in my house. The volume may not be on, but that TV is on for company. It's on for a whole bunch of different things, but now on YouTube, I have a new addiction. I go from Christy to another show, to another show, to another show on YouTube, in the mornings, and depends on when I get up and what's going on. But I'm like, Christy's having a thing in the afternoon. I have to be home. Somebody else is having a show. I got to make sure I'm there. So it's, I'm trying to stay up to watch you at night because I'm an hour or two ahead of you. So, it's kind of like those notifications, thank goodness, because I wouldn't get to see everybody. So there is a different addiction. I may not be hands down in my little phone, but I've got notifications. So we do have stuff. I think that's one of the things that Christy mentioned, one of the things that Ben and you guys were talking about is getting out. Get out of your house. Get out and smell the coffee outside your room. Just get out.
I don't want to go.
I know.
That's right. I like to get out.
I get it.
I like to get outside. Sure.
No, I know. I know you're kidding.
Yeah, and I tell people because I have people ground with Mother Gaia energy, and we could all ground right now if you wanted. But I do throw a little. However, if you have the opportunity to go out and tap, some people just believe you go tap with your feet, and that grounds you. Of course, it would, but I like to spend a little bit more time there, a little bit more time enjoying it, and having feel that that grass and whatever's poking me in the bottom of my foot. Really dig into that experience. Because it's like anything we do is an experience. So that's see, DJ gets it, what we were talking about. High stress ads followed by stomach med ads. Yeah, you need that. You would need that to put up with it. And fortunately, with all these alternative medias, to Teresa's point, I was like 6 months ago, I would wake up and I would turn on YouTube first thing while I was walking to my kitchen to go make my coffee.
Yep.
And I've noticed that fewer and fewer things in the last 2 or 3 months are resonating with me. And now it's like I turn on YouTube on my iPad and I'm like, it's like there's a whole section of things I used to subscribe to that I'm not even interested in anymore. And it's fascinating. And so it's like I'm getting it out. Now almost all my stuff is spiritual stuff or something that is literally going to raise me up. Yeah. So I think it's interesting times we live in, and interesting opportunities, because how do we bridge this? What's our path forward other than what we're doing, getting our messages out and going out and being beacons of light? what is the big picture? I don't know. I think I know what's coming, but that might be, like you said earlier, Ben, another story for another time.
Mm. Yeah, and I'll try to dig her uh, channel up. Sharing with Shannon's going to be starting at the top of the hour. She's going to be the next channel in this chain. There is some. Let's see here. There is some interesting things that.
Oh wow, what's that?
Oh.
Oh,
Hey, little mountain never hurt anybody.
no.
But I mean, the stuff like this is interesting. I mean,
It is. Are they
um,
fireworks?
drones.
Drones? Oh my gravy. That's amazing.
That's swarm technology. Swarm meaning a swarm of drones that you can get AI to be its overlord. And I'm using really bad terminology, but I mean, it's the thing that keeps them together and tells them to light up certain colors and things like that. But yeah, that stuff to me is just, astounding. But the more we see stuff like this, this still, I mean, it's fascinating as it is.
That is cool.
It's still, oftentimes we, oh, wow. Let me pull this up.
Wow. And that's all drone. Holy cow. No wonder everyone thinks aliens are invading us.
Well,
Huh.
that kind of reminds me of something. What was the name of the project? Oh, that's interesting. Sometimes the more
Oh, what do they call those?
Stick
Oh, the
something.
stick bugs. It's hanging on for dear life.
But yeah, the more I, and the thing is that all good things, the more we're exposed to certain things, the more there's a need to get back to, basic things, animals. So yeah, that's what I like to spend a lot of my time on X doing is baby animal videos, because why not? But
They're awesome too.
yeah.
I can rabbit hole down a cat video in no time. And canines do get some representation too, but usually it's them getting smacked by cats or not understanding. It's just one of those things. Wouldn't say I'm a complete anti-canine-ite or something, but you just resonate sometimes with one of them more than the other one. So yeah. I'm gonna have to go make some donuts here in a couple minutes, you guys. So
Sure.
it's almost that time for me. Did all of you bring in the new year with the conical hat and
No.
a blow tickler?
Tinfoil.
Oh, you had it. Oh, I should have done the tinfoil hat show last night. There we go.
I actually brought in the new year with all the folks that were on the village last night, and then curled into under the covers with my two little love bugs puppies, and was warm and toasty.
That's nice. There
we go.
That's really nice.
Copy. There we go.
Oh, Ben found it.
With Shannon. Boom. There we go. That's the next channel that will be up. Yes, and Victor runs a channel. Let me go ahead and pop the Truth Wave, 2 words. You would not believe how many times I type it in as one word, but really?
Isn't it one word?
Yeah. TR Truth Wave Energy Meditation. Actually, I think it is true. Oh, never mind. Never. You would think I would have had a good luck on that, but you'd be wrong. Let's see here. So yes, share page. Let's try not to get Mountain playing this time. There we go. Here's Victor's channel, Truth Wave Energy Meditation. He runs a meditation in the morning and in the evening.
Hey, we got fun.
Yeah. He's going to be getting ready to do an upcoming live. At the top of the hour. Actually, he starts 15 before.
Yes, the banter begins at 8:45 or 9:45, depending on your time zone.
I'll go ahead and copy. This is TR Truth Wave. Yeah, I don't know why I thought it was 2 words. There we go. So yes, please stop screen sharing. And I did it without Mountain this time. Hey, a little bit of Mountain never hurt. So yeah, please go through and show him some love, and I'd like to thank you for popping in this morning, Victor. Thank you so much.
Well, yeah, you're welcome. Well, thank you. And I ended up staying up far later than I realized last night, so I was a little bit late. So I do apologize for that because I was all about it last night. Yeah, I'll be there. I'll be there right on time, right at the beginning. Excuse me. So I'm sending each and every one of you love, peace, and joy, of course. And it's good to see you again, Teresa. And I have some of my community looking forward to your YouTube channel and your content.
I know. I can't wait. Soon.
And Christy, I think it was awesome what you did last night. And I'm just giving you grief just because I'm just giving you some ribbing. So please know that I'm not offended to the subatomic level or something. And yeah, and Ben came in at the last moment too. So
I know I would have been like,
yeah. So, all right, my friends, I'll see you next time. And until then, namaste.
Namaste.
So Christy. Oh, wait a minute. Your volume's a little low. I'll get it here. Mama. There we go. Turn you up a little bit. Okay, so you got any big plans for today?
Oh, yes. So Michael is going to finally finish this wall and put the paneling behind the fireplace in the RV. He painted my sink and put my new faucet in. So I now have a black sink and black faucet, which looks really nice with the blue. But yeah, that's it. And then kind of winterizing. It's supposed to be really cold here next week. Like it's supposed to be down to 4 degrees.
Oh my God.
So that's like the temperature. That's not the wind chill. It's the temperature. So it's next week is going to be like 4, 9, I think like 14. So just kind of making sure we've got the heat lamps and everything going so the pipes don't freeze. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Nothing terribly exciting. Finishing up some stuff for the channel. That's about it.
Hey makers, how you doing?
So
good to see you this morning. Wow. The 3-legged dog doing anything interesting?
Yeah.
Oh, there's Edgar.
There's Edgar.
Oh, is Edgar back there? Yeah, Shitty Kitty was when Karina and I were recording yesterday. Shitty Kitty was asleep here, and Edgar was over here, so it was really cute. Yeah, Sweetie's doing good. She is every bit of a holler dog, so she's convinced she's never going to eat again, and so she eats all of the food. And because she's only got 3 legs, we have to be really careful of her weight because it puts extra pressure on her hip. So when we found her pelvis was shattered and her leg was broken, and she had Lyme disease and some other bloodborne tick disease. So Michael's like, she survived a lot, so we have to give her extra food, but we have to be careful because it puts too much stress on all of that. So she's doing good. She's almost outgrown her harness though. So I'm like, we've got to put you on a little bit of a diet So it doesn't hurt her, like cause her more, because all of the weight in her backside is just on that
Yeah.
one back left
Yeah.
leg. So but
Yeah, no, I
she's
can imagine.
she's doing good. She's spicy.
I can imagine that would be. I can see both sides though. I'm naturally that way towards animals. Like, oh, but it needs a love. It needs some more food. We want to help it, but at the same time, it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, this poor dog's running around with 3 legs. It's very jarring on that hip. But yeah, I had a
Yeah,
dog
because
trainer of all people who he had black labs, and they all look like ticks because they're all fat. He said they're not fat; they're happy. Like, oh, okay, well, they're very happy.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Well, it's kind of like between my dogs, it's like that. Jack Sprat could eat no fat. His wife could eat no lean. So between the two of them, they lick the plate clean. Well, Mikey is skinny, and you kind of can't fatten him up. And then Sweetie, she just eats everything. She'll eat the dog food, the cat food. She'll, she can, even though she's just got the one back leg, she stands up and like will try to get on the table to get to the cat food. Like, it's ridiculous. I'm like, girl, I promise you're gonna eat. Like, you can literally give her steak and lobster, and then she would go eat a 12-day-old rotten cheeseburger. So I'm like, I promise you're gonna get food. I promise. I'm not gonna let you starve. But but of all of the animals, she had the hardest. The hardest. Like, I had to carry her in a laundry basket for 2 months because she couldn't walk because of her back leg. So she definitely, I think, kind of became a little drama queen after that. She's just like carrying me, but because her pelvis was shattered and her leg was broken, she couldn't do anything. So, and I was like, how am I going to carry this dog? Because she's a medium-sized dog. She's not little. So the vet's like, put her in the laundry basket, and that's what I did. So I carried her in and out of the vet in this laundry basket. So read to her every night. We read Catcher in the Rye. One of my favorite books. I'm like, here's a little sass for you. So
Yes.
yeah,
Animals
that's what she's
are
doing.
another thing that help us connect with. I mean, because it's nature. Animals are another outlet for that, and they're good friends.
I was taking Mikey out this morning, and there was a cat. Well, we thought it was. We didn't know where it came from. It had left paw prints on the vet, and so I'm like, where is this coming from? Well, it's a little cat that is over by the fence, and it's supposed to get really cold next week. So I don't know if the cat has a home or not. So I put some cat food. I got a little coffee filter, put some cat food out. So I'm gonna get some straw, because I read that when it's really cold, not to put blankets down because it absorbs the cold and then it forms icicles on their fur. So I'm gonna get some straw. I've got a cat carrier, and I'm gonna put it like next to where the heating lamps are, like not in there, but like next to it, because it kind of the RV heats it up. So that if it is a stray, that it's got a place to get out of the cold, because the shelters around here are full and they're not taking any. So I mean, literally, they're like, we cannot take anymore. So they're sending you to like Kansas City, which is about an hour and a half that way, and then St. Louis is about 3 hours. Well, it's 200 and some miles from where I'm at. So like, they're just not even taking the animals in. So I'm like, well, we'll make sure that they're, comfortable and fed, especially when it's that cold. But yeah, it's funny, you get out and you see, because especially since the vet has a black hood, you see the paw prints all over, and Michael's like, I mean, he loves animals, but he's like, what's walking on my car? But yeah, I don't know where it's a white cat, so I don't know, but I just want to make sure it's okay. I can't rescue it. We've got too many animals in this RV already. But I'm like, I can make sure it's got food and a warm place to sleep anyway, while it's cold
Sure.
outside. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Being kind to creatures doesn't cost a lot of time or energy, but yeah, that's nice. That is really nice.
yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah,
Ben, what
we
are you doing today?
Well, and this is such a cute little.
This is a cute little. You were saying?
Oh, I just said this is a cute little town, and you just want to take care of everything here. Like,
Yeah.
it's very cute. But I think Teresa asked you what you were doing today.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was actually that is I was actually stalling, trying to think of something. I don't know. I gotta feed the fat quail outside. They're very demanding, very judgy. Gotta feed the chickens. They're very demanding,
Right.
very judgy. I'm starting to see a pattern here. Gotta feed the cockatiel. He's demanding and judging. I have a lot of judgy birds around me. I swear. Oh, but yeah. Yeah, I'm probably just gonna take it easy today. Still recovering a little bit, but yeah, doing okay. How about you, Teresa?
So I'm on later on this morning, and
Hmm.
then I think it's time to take down my holiday decorations and put everything away, start the new year clean. I'm hoping that the channel's going to kick off, so I don't want to be tripping all over all of this gobbledygook I've got in the house. The pups are going to need their walk, and it is gloomy doomy here today, so I got to put on my rain gear and go traipse out in the rain with the pups because funnily enough, they love going on walks in the rain with me. But if I open the door and let them go in the backyard, no, I have to go with them. If they get wet, mama has to get wet. I'm like, oh. So that's my plan. And I do a lot of journaling, and I'm part of this energy class that there's a series of 13 question statements that I need to do each day, and I'm a couple of days behind. So I need to finish that up. Very introspective. So I think it's very appropriate for this time of year.
Mm.
And then get the channel ready for my launch.
Cool. Oh, that's neat that you're getting. So yeah, you're working with Plant Freak.
Yeah. Hopefully she
Yeah.
had a good holiday. I have to catch up with her. But yes, really excited, and
Oh,
can't wait to see what she's created for me.
yeah.
She's
I had a
really good. Yeah, she does a lot of good work.
I had an
It's all your
Anatolian.
recommendation.
I had an Anatolian Shepherd, big dog, big, huge honking dog.
Wow.
Not ours wasn't too terribly smart, but she was sweet as could be. And man, as she got older, she just kind of got tired. So whenever she'd make a break out the front door, it'd be like, "No, Moose, come back," and she would just kind of slowly go out to the front yard, look around. She'd slowly walk over, and so it's like, yeah, we didn't have to worry about her making a, when she was younger. Yeah, she would bolt. She would be like trying to catch a horse and would sound like it to you, boom, 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 boom. But yeah, as she got older, it was kind of an interesting dog. It's kind of yeah. Get up in the morning, she'd look at you, and she'd walk down the hall, sit, and I had to go let her out, and she'd go walk. That dog, I was not a morning person, and I can relate in so many ways.
Oh my
Uh,
God, you're always doing morning shows. I'm like, how is
yeah.
it that you're up and awake?
Actually, yeah, the truth be told, energetically, I tend to do my best stuff in the morning.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, it's just sometimes it's hard to get up in the morning.
It definitely is, especially if you don't sleep at night. That's sort of my thing is I used to be an early bird kind of girl, but it was early to bed and early to rise. The early to bed part has sort of gone by the wayside because I'm like, okay, twiddling my thumbs and
Mm.
like, sleep, where are you?
Yeah, yeah,
So it makes it hard to get up in the morning. And my
yeah.
pups will sleep until I move. So they're
Mm.
not wake I thought they'd at least wake me up. My 2 chuckleheads right now, thankfully, because we're on stream, they're sound asleep snoring. One's on the chair, one's on the ottoman by the window, and, you can hear different snores. So they're in a very deep REM state. And, but I I'm like, "Why can't that rub off on me? I just wanna sleep 2 hours in a row." Oh, look who she's got. Oh,
Nice, Edgar. He's trying to step on my computer, so
oh,
Mm.
we just captured a little guy.
he's like, "Mommy, enough." He's like, "Enough work, mommy, play with me."
Right, right,
Yes,
right, right.
And
Yes.
Christy, of course, why I have her channel linked. She has a channel as well. She teaches tarot. Of course, she teaches tarot, and she also has a friend Karina on who's all about astrology, and they have several classes they're offering. So please, by all means, if that's something you're interested in, feel free to go by and check their stuff out. It has been fascinating to look at,
Yeah.
and I do love the complexity
Oh,
to
yeah.
the astrology, and it's
Yeah.
it's a good way to look at personality. That you could have personality mixtures, this factor with that factor, and then of course you have archetypal. They also work with archetypal energy, and I don't know why I pulled this up. Um, but archetypal energies, and yeah, it is a very
Mhm.
fascinating way to look at people. Um, and it helps to kind of
It really
keep in
is.
mind. Yeah, yeah, because you can. I mean,
Yeah.
you don't necessarily, you're not necessarily trying to pigeonhole people, but at the same time, it's kind of easier to notice, to keep track of. Oh, this person isn't meaning to act this way. That is the way they view things. That's their Weltanschauung or worldview.
Mhm.
That is how they view the world. That is how they connect. This other person, this is how they do it. And that's, I find oftentimes that is the case, that people don't mean to be. It's just the way at which they approach things. And
Right.
that can be very
Right.
off putting if you're not aware.
Mhm.
Uh, Or just
Well,
simply being
and,
aware of it.
even I went. Yeah. No, no, go ahead.
You go.
I'm sorry. I'm delayed here in my internet. Um, I went to the herb store the other day to get something, and this lady, she was talking, and she's like, I'm just such a perfectionist, and I'm this and I'm that, and she's like, I don't understand it, and I go, you're a Virgo, aren't you? And she goes, are you a Virgo? And I'm like, no, but that's a trait of a Virgo, is a
Hmm.
perfectionist. And you look at a Virgo who's a perfectionist, and Aquarius are perfectionist, but Virgo is perfectionist on a very personal level, where they want to make you the perfect cookie. And Aquarius is a perfectionist on the stage of, I want the collective to be better. So it does really help you to understand. I think it's made me more compassionate to people and more understanding. And to know that, it's deeper than just we all bring our own traumas. We don't know what anybody's going through at any certain time, and different signs present that differently. And so it's made me more aware of reading the room, as far as like, oh, okay, I don't normally see this person react this way. I should probably change, like, and especially my husband, because I'm an air sign, he's a water sign. we have two very different reactions. He's going to have an emotional reaction and be like, what are you doing? You know, and mine's going to be like, you know, he's going to, and I've told this story before, but it's the perfect, he bought me a BMW, convertible BMW, and he was so excited about it. And I'm like, how are we going to, how much is the insurance? How much are the windshield wipers? How much are the oil changes? Well, that was a very, I mean, that was how I reacted to things. And that those are legitimate, but I kind of took the air out of his balloon, and you can't kind of reinflate that balloon once you've done it. So it's made me much more aware of people, and I pay attention. So much like Ben does with body language, when I see somebody acting in a way that is out of character for them, I stop and I'm like, oh, you know, kind of. But it's really cool too, because you've got all these other, like your moon and your Venus and your Mars and Mercury, and but it does really help you to kind of understand people and the collective. And archetypal energy is that gorgeous energy that everybody knows. Some, like, nobody owns that energy. We embody different parts of it, but nobody is only this or only that, and it's very complex. And you know, even the tarot class that we've been doing, it all ties together: the archetypal energy, the astrology, the signs, the houses, the planets. It's all part of tarot. And one of the things we say is, you know, as you're looking through the tarot cards, like, see who represents that. Who do you know that's an Aquarius? Who do you know that's a Pisces? Who do you know that's a Leo? Who do you know that's a Sagittarius? And it allows you to kind of connect and better understand those you know, those energies. So it all ties together, and I think it's really good. Being a Virgo is exhausting. Yes, I can imagine it is. Mindy's a Virgo, so you know, like, and but it I found that it helps me a lot, and to know who I can connect with and who I don't. There's some energies I just don't do well with. Like even Karina said, you know, if you've got certain things going on, we're not gonna, and it's just even knowing that, you know. So, and realizing that it's not it's just, you know, kind of where you're at. So
Yeah.
that's,
That's
it's fun. We're gonna be doing more of that.
yeah. DJ Nico, I am as well. I always tried to figure out why. I just love, I love the 80s music, the way everything was like, yes, the way society was like, oh yes, everything is so amped up. Like, this isn't great. This is the greatest. I love that. It was kind of like putting salt on food that's already salty. It was like, yes, I love that. And yeah, I come to find out, you know what? That's a quality of being a Leo as far as emotions and things like that.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting too, you know, depending on, like, are you a fixed sign or a cardinal sign or a mutable sign? Those are different too. Like, I'm a fixed sign, so it's kind of unmovable in some things, you know. So it's even understanding that mutable is very flowy, you know. So even that, you know, again, go back to Michael and I. He's a Scorpio. I'm an Aquarius. Those are both fixed signs. You get air and water together, it doesn't always work. But my moon is a Cancer. It works with his Scorpio, and his moon is an Aries, works with my Aquarius. So when you look at those two signs together, Aquarius and Scorpio really shouldn't work, but it works because of other placements in the chart. So it's not just that. So it's really interesting. You know, I think I find it interesting. And then I talk to Ben and I'm like, well, what's the body language about this? Or what's that? What does this mean? And then it's like, oh. And I did a show where I had Karina read my birth chart, and then I had Ben come on and talk about my personality type, so everybody could see how it fit, you know. And it's easy to pick on myself. I know my I wouldn't let anybody else do that.
Yes.
Yes. I see big differences in how I interact with my two daughters. One is Capricorn, and one is Libra. Oh, yeah, that's two very different energies right there. But it even helps you to, you know, understand that. Like when Michael and I started dating, I was like, so when's your birthday?
Yeah, DJ Nico, I
I
have
want
the
to know what
same thing
sign
as
you are.
well. I have the same thing as well. It's like there's more empty houses than not in mine. I don't know if that's typical. But yeah, I was looking at like, oh my, it's so sparse. I don't know what that means, but that's something I'm hoping to figure out. But
You know,
oh wait a
if you
minute.
want to see something funny, go look up like serial killer charts or like Kurt Cobain's chart or something like that, and then like look at yours. Like mine is kind of all over. Who did I do? My friend Yvonne. Hers looks like a person. It's like boxy here and then nothing and then down here. So just because you have empty houses doesn't mean that those houses don't apply. It depends on how you view life. Like if you view it as reincarnation, those are just things you might have already learned and that you don't need to have anything in those houses in this. If that's not what you believe, that's okay too. And it just means that, you know, hey, you don't need to worry about that stuff. It's the stuff in the other house that's going to affect you. So it again, the houses, planetary placements, everything. And that's why when you do your birth chart, if you need to have your exact time, um, so that you know exactly where things are in your chart. Otherwise, you can use like noon, but that's skews it a lot. So
Well, just to sort of for Rolling Stone said that needed a birth chart, and I don't know if we have Karina's info, but she did a great reading for me for my birth chart, and I don't know a lot of people that do this, but she was right on, and really it was very impactful. So I don't know if anybody's looking up Karina. She has a website and she does have a YouTube channel. She
Yeah.
doesn't use it as much, but she is awesome. So, oh, there you go. Chris,
Oh,
you
okay.
just put it up.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna look
yeah,
for it
you
myself.
can find Karina at Magic in the Moon Astrology. That's what she is on everything. I think her half-hour birth chart readings are 60. Her 1 hour birth chart readings, I think, are 120. You can, if you want, I really recommend going through her because she does explain everything to you and what it means
Yes.
really, really well. And it is really impactful because she's telling you this is how it applies to you. And then she saves all of that for a year. So it's definitely worth it. If you just want a free birth chart, Astro Charts is a good one to use, ASTRO.charts. And you can get a free one there. You do have to, with that one though, go in and pre-fill, like, do you want asteroids? Do you want the North Node? Do you want Lilith Moon? Like there's a lot of, it'll give you a basic one, or you can go in and kind of program it. So if you have the opportunity, I really encourage you to go to Karina because she's going to be like, this is how it impacts you. This is how things are. But you know, it's so for Rolling Stone, it's Astro Chart. And you can just Google it and that's free. And it's got a basic default. So it'll give you the basic information like your sun, your moon, your rising. I think it goes, and then like that, of course, the houses. So and then for there, we're going to be doing a lot on the channel with the charts and going over a lot of things. So even if you don't pay for the reading, you can have your chart with you, and as Karina is going through stuff, you can be like, oh, okay, this is what it means, or you can even Google it. So you don't have to pay. Like you can totally, there is a free option. And we're on January 6th at 2:30 in the afternoon. We're going over the astrological forecast for the entire year. So if you have your chart before then, even if it's just a free chart, have that and bring a notebook and a pen and you can reference it. And when she talks about Saturn, you just look and see where Saturn's at in your chart. and then you'll kind of get an understanding. But she's pretty thorough. And what I found for me was understanding my birth chart helped me to understand my life's mission instead of just throwing stuff at a wall and hoping that it stuck. She's like, this is really important in your life, which isn't necessarily going to be important in Ben or Teresa's life. So, but yeah, you know, we always have, you know, all that, and DJ Nico, you know what supports us the most? And I'm being really honest. If you subscribe to our channel and hit that all for notification and you just watch us, you don't have to give any money. You don't have to pay anything. The subscriptions, like just the subscribe, it's free. And you can learn a lot of stuff. There's on my channel, there's tons of free content. You don't have to pay for any of that on there. We've got options if you want to, but you by no means do you have to do that. The astrological look ahead is completely free. So if you have a YouTube, creator that you like, just subscribe to their channel, hit that all, and watch their videos. Like it, leave a comment. That really pushes us out for the algorithm, and that helps more than any of your money. Like, I'm not after your money. Keep it, especially if you're a student. But like, just even subscribing helps. Telling somebody about our channel helps. Be like, hey, I watched this channel. Maybe you'll like it. I think they're kung fu fighting back there.
Your two kitty cats are just cracking me up. There's a whole show going on behind you, girl.
Yeah. Yeah. They kung fu fight. Especially Shitty Kitty. She's a kung fu fighter. She reminds me of that song, talking about that everybody was kung fu fighting. That's what she does.
She is a
She's
little
a really
grouchy.
good mouser too.
Oh.
She is. Yeah, she's very judgy. We were sitting around. We're like, if anything happens to us, I'm pretty sure Shitty Kitty already has a plan. Like, Edgar would just be, wherever. The dogs would run off. Shitty Kitty's got a plan. she's got a plan for what's going on. But she is a good mouser. She's really good at like hunting and tracking. And Edgar, he notices him, but he doesn't really hunt, like, especially like little like toys. Like, Shitty Kitty will like track the toys and stuff like that. Edgar's just like, oh, it's a toy. I'm like, well, there's that. Don't eat that. No, Edgar. No. You be the good guy. You be the good guy. And now he goes over to. I don't know if I can. They're not doing it now. She just gets at him. It's funny.
Well, let's see here. Yeah, we're coming up on the end of our show, and yes, go. Next up is sharing with Shannon. I think we already shared her link. Let's see here. Oh, I already had the wrong link. Yes. So, any closing thoughts?
I would say just be intentful for 2025, and realize that you've got a lot of options open to you, and just make life the best as you can. And I always end my shows with this: go conquer your world as only you can. We'll be here to help you to light the way. I think that's the best thing. Like, go conquer your world. There's nobody stopping you. So you go make it amazing. Make this the best year you've had.
Teresa, 20-second closing.
I don't know how I can follow up after that, Christy. I would also just say, just be kind to one another. Be kind. Be open-hearted. You don't know what someone else is going through, so just offer a smile, and be the best that you are, because you're already enough.
All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and close this out. I do hope you all have yourself a pleasant day today. And please feel free to like, subscribe, and all that kind of stuff if you're interested in what we do here. And yeah, again, got Sharing with Shannon next. You all have a great day.